Good evening, cowboys, cowgirls, and outlaws. Welcome to the Slick Sixguns Network. I'm your host, Slick Sixguns, and I'm here to provide education, tips, and community for those interested in the Western shooting sports. If you're interested in stuff like that, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notifications bell so you don't miss anything. Now let's pack our wagons and see what's being discovered out west. Good morning, cowboys, cowgirls, and outlaws. Welcome to the Slick Sixguns Network Facebook page. I am coming at you live. Today we have a pretty awesome video scheduled. And if you guys are regulars here, you'll know that this is Coffee with Slick Sixguns. And I will get into that in a second. But first of all, thank you for watching. I'm glad that you guys are joining me for today. And before we get started, go ahead and grab your coffee mugs. Let me know where you are watching from and what you are drinking, because I am going to. I have my famous Mojo coffee here. They are not a sponsor, but I went and bought this morning. No one has bought me a coffee yet, so I bought it myself. So I'm going to thank myself there. But I got my usual brew with them, and if you guys have a normal mainstay, please let me know. Throughout this video, I'm probably going to say hello to all my fellow, to those who are watching. And if I give you a shout out, just feel free to say hi in the comment section. So, this is going to be a pretty fun episode. I'm going to show you some pretty an interesting firearm, at least that I think it is. And just wanted to let you guys know I'm going to go ahead and tell you that all the firearms on this channel have been safety checked before I actually brought it on, although I will safety check it on camera for all my range safety officers out there and all that good stuff. But we're going to get into the firearm in a second. I want to go ahead and let you guys know that I just recently published a YouTube video, so if you are watching, go ahead and check out that video right now. Or you can go ahead and see it at some other point throughout the day. It's going to be on YouTube forever, as we all know. It's about what your pistol caliber says about you. I do not mention the caliber that this rifle is chambered in. However, I do have many other calibers in there, and maybe it might be describing your personality. Once again, it's a satirical video, basically meant to just kind of make fun of, you know, the different types of people that might possess your firearm. The question is will I guess your personality correctly? Needless to say, I want to let you all know that do not, even though the butt hurt will flow, I will tell you that it does not necessarily mean that I am not making fun of myself either, because, to be quite honest with you, I shoot all those calibers. So, it's just take it for what it is. It's meant to be funny. At any point in time, feel free to ask me questions throughout this live stream. I always have an interest in my audience. I always want to know what you guys are doing. I always, I would love to go ahead and just talk with you about anything and everything. I'll try and keep things, pretty professional as much as possible. Although we do like to have fun on this channel, we do like to make fun of each other, and by all means, you can always make fun of me too. So, it's the reason why I do what I do. I love it because I love hearing from you guys. I think it's awesome. It's a great way to have a connection. And if though you are interested in Western firearms or Western history, definitely subscribe to my channel. I will also tell you that if you feel like supporting the channel at any point, by all means, and you want to be mentioned on my videos in the future, go ahead and buy me a coffee. I also have my Patreon account, which you guys can go at Slick Sixguns Network. And you can also look for me on Buy Me a Coffee as well, under the same name. And for as little as $5 to $1, you can contribute and help. So I think it's great. And plus, you also get the chance to be mentioned on the channel, so you get some great benefits out of it. And, just something to think about. Let me know where you are watching from and also what you are doing. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Somebody may have their whiskey out. They may have their beer. They also may have their morning coffee. It doesn't matter. you may be at work today. You may be just at the usual grind, and I'm just your form of entertainment right now. If that's you, let me know. But yeah, this episode that I released very recently is a very funny episode, to say the least. I think I have 4 very satirical videos out there that I think are actually doing quite well, at least on the YouTube analytics side. For the viewers, I don't know what they think. I just get what I get in the comments, and sometimes it ends up being good, sometimes it ends up being not so good. It doesn't matter. Either way, I enjoy it. I think it's fun. How are things going on in your lives? Let me know in the comment section. And if you have any questions on the firearm that I'm about to present, please let me know. Maybe you shoot it, maybe you don't, maybe you'd like to purchase it. I'll give you some details about the firearm, but I'm definitely not going to give you the history. I may inadvertently tell you some, but please, take it for a grain of salt. It may not be 100% accurate. I'm just telling you more or less to introduce the firearm to you. I'm going to give you very basic facts here. I'm not going to give you an in-depth review. That's not what this is for. If that is something you're interested in, by all means, go to my YouTube channel. I do far more better reviews out there, and they aren't really in person. So, anyway. You got some good coffee right there. So everything's going pretty well, and in my personal life, I'm enjoying life. I don't know about you guys, but things seem to be getting better, at least what I think so. And some people I think it's getting worse, and based on, if you guys know anything about me, based on what I've been through in the last year, I think things are slightly getting better in my opinion, and that's just me. Times will always go up and down, so it changes. What can I say? So, I have some other videos coming out. I'm trying to increase my YouTube channel output, as you will. I'm trying to do it once a week if I can. I know that last time I had this, and I said I was going to do it every week, and that just didn't happen. I had some things going on in my life that were going a little crazy, and as you guys all know, some things get a little out of hand. You end up focusing more on one thing and one thing only, and then everything else kind of gets forgotten. So it happens, but needless to say, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm gonna still produce content, and in the last 6 months has been the slowest amount of content producing I think I've had in my entire YouTube channel career. But I am still going to bring you guys content, and I am still shooting for that once a week. And I definitely did hit my goal this week. So I was able to do that, and I'm able to do a live stream. So things are starting to pick up. For those of you who don't know, I also run a goat grazing business. Basically, I do what's called targeted grazing, and it's through Goats on the Go Austin Northwest. By all means, Google it. You can find me. And if you're in the Austin area in Texas, maybe you can actually meet me in person. We can do some stuff for you. Anyway, it's a vegetation solution you can get excited about. So, if you're interested. Alright, so without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about this 1894 Marlin, and then I'm going to bring it up on screen. I will also show you the ammunition as well, just so that you guys can have an idea of what it shoots, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the price. I'm going to tell you a little bit about its features. I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I got it. And, it'll hopefully spark some type of questioning with you guys, and you guys will actually be inspired, if you will, because I think it's great. We got some great history that shows up on this channel. We got some great content that does, and this is just one of those things that adds to the content. I think it's awesome. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and at least show you the ammunition. So here it is. This rifle is chambered in 25-20. See if I can get it nice and close there. Alright. So 25-20 is what it is chambered in. This is a Marlin 1894, and I will show you rifle here in a second, but it's chambered in the caliber 25-20. Okay, so 25-20 to me is a really interesting little round. I didn't even know it. I knew it existed. I have never seen one actually in person, and by all means, nowadays they are absolutely a bear to find. In fact, I think the only place I've been able to find 25-20 is on Gunbroker, and luckily I just made a score recently in which I went to my local gun shop and they had some in the back room that I guess they just forgot about and ended up giving it to me. And it's basically $2 a round. I remember when things used to be 50 cents a round. So $2 a round for this little guy. So it is what it is. And I didn't reload the ammunition, and this isn't cowboy action ammunition. As you can see, it's partially jacketed. So but it's bigger than the 22. If you guys have a 25 auto out there, let me know. So you're looking at that type of a diameter bullet, and the casing is relatively long. It is basically the size of a 32-20. It's just been necked down to a 25 caliber. So I'll tell you what, this round when I shot it had a slight and to be expected. It had a more kick than a 22. All right, I have not actually shot my 32-20, so I can't necessarily compare it to that, but I've shot a 22 before. That's probably the closest caliber I've had to this, if you will. I know people are going to say, well, it's nowhere near close. Okay, well, for someone who hasn't shot 25-20, that's the best thing I could compare it to at this point. And no surprise, because the casing's a little bit longer, you put a little more powder in there, and because of the 20 designation, supposedly you can fit 20 grains of black powder in there, and it has a little bit more of a kick. But this is smokeless ammunition. I don't know exactly how many grains of powder is in there, so but I can tell you that it definitely had a little bit more kick than a 22. I'd say it kicks more like a 22 Magnum, if you will, but this is obviously out of a rifle. The rifle itself is relatively heavy, and so you can stay on target really quickly. It's really nice. So I really like it. The 25-20, ladies and gentlemen, it came out and it was developed. To my knowledge, it was developed as a varmint cartridge, and I think it would do great for that. So what it was designed for, it's great to do. It does its job. They came out with other calibers after that and made it less popular, more obsolete, if you want to call it. But for those of us in the cowboy action community, if you are interested in 25-20, yes, it does exist. And it's fun to shoot. And if you want to get a 25-20, I think it's great. Can you shoot 25-20 in cowboy action? You absolutely can. So, it kind of falls in line with the people who decide that they're going to go shoot 56-50. So, you can shoot 56-50 in cowboy action as well. So 25-20 falls in that caliber, because they have a section in the rule book where you can shoot it. Have I shot it in a match? No. Have I shot the rifle? Yes, I have. So we'll get into the rifle in a second. How's everybody doing out there? Let me know in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you have to say. So if you guys notice, I actually kind of set this live stream up to be a little bit more official. I know the green background might throw some people off, but I also do that so that you guys can actually see me a little bit better. I know there's some better backgrounds, but if you guys noticed, I was using more white backgrounds, if you will, and I was, using the wall, essentially, which is fine. It's not a bad background as long as it's a white wall. But this has a little bit more of a cleaner look. I think I might switch more to something like this in the near future. And I'm also sitting in a rocking chair. I'm sitting in a rocking chair. So, I've changed things up a little bit, so if you see me go back and forth, it might drive you a little crazy, but it's just me kind of entertaining myself here, if you will. So, enjoying my cup of coffee this morning. So, but yeah, 2520, pretty awesome little cartridge there. I will say that, we shot, when I went and shot it for the first time, I was very surprised. Not surprised at the accuracy considering where I was shooting from. I was just taking the gun out and just deciding to, aim at one of those little dime size bullseyes that you have on like the shoot and sees. If you guys know what a shoot and see target is, let me know. But basically it's something that basically lets you see where you're hitting rather than having to go up to the target every single time. So you see, it changes to a different color when you hit it. And I was shooting at a bullseye about the size of a dime at about 15 yards. So standing, not too bad. Group was great. If I could show you the group, I would, but I can't. So I guess you're just gonna have to take my word for it on that one. But she shot pretty well, and I was really happy with the accuracy of the cartridge. Not to say that 15 yards is anything to, be proud of, by all means, when it comes to distance. But the grouping was pretty good, and that was kind of nice. I will say that the kick of the rifle was darn near nothing. I could stay on target the whole time. I was a little irritated, and maybe it was just because of how old the ammunition was, because it was had been around for a while and just probably sat on a shelf for years and years, maybe even decades. I don't know. And let me know in the comment section if this is something that you guys experience with the 2520. But I will say that the loading gate and loading it under pressure with multiple rounds in the tubular magazine caused the round to go into the actual casing. Just pushed it in, and that was kind of an irritant to me. Also, definitely, it's not something that I consider very safe. So I just wonder if it was not necessarily the fact that the 2520 does that, just because maybe it might be a little weaker up there on the neck, but maybe it was also just due to the age of the ammunition. I don't know how old the brass was. It wasn't a reload, so I can say that it was factory ammunition. I just thought that was kind of interesting to me. So I had to be careful when I loaded those rounds that I didn't press too hard on the loading gate, and loaded it very carefully so that round did not, that bullet did not get compressed back into the casing. And needless to say, when you're firing, that's not to say that a round in the chamber, if it got a slight misfeed or caught somewhere, that it wouldn't press it or crack it. I also noticed that the necks got cracked as well. So trying to recover the ammunition so that it could be safely reloaded, I'd say, is something that you might have to be concerned with, or you might want to consider, just instead of reloading the cases, you might want to just go out and buy new brass. That's easier said than done. But that's just something I noticed with the 2520, and that I had to be a little bit more careful with this rifle, but that had nothing to do with the function of the rifle. And I'll tell you how the function went here in a second. So, without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the rifle here so y'all can see it. Because I know that's what everybody comes here for. They come here for the guns. They don't necessarily come here for me. Of course, if I were a viewer, that's probably how I would do it too. Let's just be honest. Okay, here we go. All right, here is my vintage or original Marlin 1894. Just get you a nice overall view of this rifle. Go nice and slow for you guys out there so you can enjoy just looking at it and just see the quality of it. Now I'm going to go ahead and make sure that it is obviously clear, even though I told you all at the beginning that yes, this weapon has been cleared. Okay, so you can see that there's no rounds in the chamber and there's nothing that you can see on the ramp. Okay, so all right, it is unloaded and safe. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead and show you the details of this rifle, and then we'll get into other things on it. Okay, so here's the details that I have. If you want to see more future detailed videos on it, please stay tuned. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'll probably have it on here at some point. But it is a crescent butt plate, okay, which I am seeing is more the norm. It's not the exception to obviously firearms around this time. Not shotgun there. It is a straight grip. The lever is more square than you see on a lot of lever actions that I've handled on this channel. I kind of noticed that. It does not have a lever catch or a lever stop here that you would see on a Winchester. I thought that was kind of interesting, even though, like I said, I'm not going to get into the history, but some of the earlier Winchesters didn't even have that either. But, to see that on this model is kind of interesting. See if it shows you, but much like the old Winchesters, the Marlins also did it too. They have their model 1894 written on here. Not model 94, but it says specifically model 1894, and it's very clear, if you will, if you can see it there. Might be slightly backwards just because of the camera. Okay, so on the tang right there, as I said, it's got a more square looking lever, and then you go down to the frame and the hammer. You'll see that the hammer is actually a little bit shorter. I thought that was kind of interesting, and I'll get into why that's kind of cool. You'll see that the side ejection port, these are not top ejection like the Winchesters are. They are side ejection. So there you go. Side ejection, very nice. So very, very cool. I have to say that the hammer spring on this is actually pretty darn strong. So that's kind of neat. And also something that I think is kind of interesting. I'd have to do a little bit more research into it, but the top of it has Marlin safety written on it as well. So just kind of interesting stamps there. All right. Going down to the loading gate here. If you look at more modern Marlin guns, you'll see that this is still, this still exists. The lever is probably right about here in the same type of metal. The loading gate here, I will say that it is pretty strong. It's not, like some of the rifles I have. It is not a very smooth load, I will say. And definitely with the necked cartridge, the rounds kind of get caught sometimes, but I'm not going to do anything to this rifle, no special gunsmithing, so I'm not going to change that. It does take the rounds, so it just requires sometimes a little bit more finessing with the more rounds you put in there. Okay, going down to the beginning where the barrel meets the frame, you're going to see the caliber on it, and you'll see that it says on it, if I can get it there, it'll say 2520M. It doesn't say 2520. It doesn't say 25 WCF. It'll say 2520M, standing for 2520 Marlin. Now, will it chamber 2520 Winchester? Yes, it will. 2520 Win will go in there. But I will also say that it goes into, to my knowledge, don't go by me. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's the truth, but based off of certain things that I've read, some Marlin owners I've talked to, 2520M was originally 2520 Marlin. There is a slight difference in the 2520M compared to the 2520 Win, and it has to do mostly, to my knowledge, with the neck of the case, and specifically more with the crimp. So, will it chamber 2520 Win? I've tried it. It works. So I'm going to say yes, it chambers it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section based on that. Okay, going down to the barrel. Now, this is a 2520. So I'm going to say that, if you look at most big bore lever action rifles, you're going to see that the barrel is lighter. Some of them. Not going to say all of them. But you're going to see that the barrel might be a little bit lighter because there's less steel. There's a lot of steel in this barrel, so therefore the balance on this rifle to me isn't really, I'm not going to say great. I don't want to do that because, balance is much like beauty in the eye of the beholder. Okay, so the balance of this rifle to me is more barrel heavy because the barrel has so much steel on it compared to what's back here. Okay, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. But it is a very, very thick barrel. Okay, shooting smokeless powder. So you can shoot black powder and smokeless through this thing, at least on this version. Now, be careful. Make sure that you guys do a little bit more research into your rifle. Don't go by me by what I'm saying. Just because I say this thing will shoot smokeless doesn't mean that you should shoot smokeless through your rifle that maybe only be quoted for black powder. But what I've done with this rifle is I have shot smokeless through it and it worked. It is a very, very thick barrel, as I said. You got buckhorn rear sight. Nothing really too special there. Pretty easy to manipulate, and you'll see that the roll markings on it will tell you that it was made in Connecticut. Yes, it was made in New Havens, Connecticut. Okay, there's a lot of firearms back in that day that was made in the New Haven area, New England. So it's got the original roll markings on it, showing you that it is not a replica. A lot of the modern replicas you're going to see are not going to have Marlin safety written on it. They're going to look not exactly like this. They will have the side ejection. They'll have some little nuances. They are trying to be, I think they try to be faithful to the original, but they produce more of a modern type of style of side eject 94. That's specifically the 94s that I'm talking about. Okay, if you come down to the forend cap, you're going to see it's not really rounded. It's more squared off compared to a Winchester. It looks more like a carbine variant, which I think is kind of cool. Once again, don't go by me. Don't yell at me in the comment section about how I said the wrong thing. I'm not researching this stuff. I'm just showing you what it looks like. So it's a little bit more squared off up here. The magazine tube is full length. So very nice. And you're going down to the bladed front sight here, which is, to my knowledge, the original front sight. Maybe it isn't, but on most of the older firearms that I see, they typically have the bladed front sight. So I just think it's really neat there. As I said, this barrel is really thick, so you're going to see that there's a lot of steel around the muzzle right there. And what I like about this rifle is, for its age, it's actually in pristine condition, at least in my opinion. There are some, handling marks on the wood. It's got a little, some scratches on it, but the bluing on there is still pretty darn good. And I will also say that in the barrel, it's nice and bright. The person who previously owned it did not shoot it. I, however, went out and shot it. Like I was telling you, if you guys look back on the replay, I'll tell you a little bit about the 25-20 and how she handled. And I'm also going to just go ahead and show you kind of how she functions. It's your standard lever, so you just hold it up here, and you're going to go ahead and force the lever forward, pull it back, and then you're going to pull the trigger. There you go. Okay, so I will say that the hammer spring on this thing is very, very tough. They weren't messing around when they made it. And I will also say that it could use a little bit of smoothing on her. It's not really the smoothest lever I've ever run. So this isn't, something that you would see on a smoothed up 73. Even maybe on the replica Marlins, it might be a little rougher. But, this thing was built to work, and it certainly does that. So, the hammer is really strong, comes forward, smacks that cartridge primer, has it go off. I haven't had a failure to go off at all. I haven't had a failure to feed yet, so not to say that I don't think it's not coming with the 25-20, as I was telling you with some of the issues I was having with it. And it's also, I just want to show you, it does have the ability to take a tang sight. It is drilled and tapped for that, which I think is kind of neat. The fit and finish on this is absolutely amazing for its age. As I said, it does have some handling marks. So, by all means, let me know what you think. Ask your questions. I am here to go ahead and entertain you guys for a little while longer as I drink my coffee. All right. So, let me get into why did I go ahead and purchase this. Okay, so let's talk about that. Why did I purchase a lever action rifle in 25-20? Well, I eventually want to collect all the calibers at some point. Okay, so I have 44-40, I have 45 Colt, I have 32-20. Now I have a 25-20, and I'm missing the 38-40 and a few others out there that I haven't mentioned. So, I'm collecting a rifle not just because of the model of it and who makes it, but I'm also collecting it for the caliber. Some people do that too. So, it's just one of those vintage calibers that I think I should have if I am a Western firearms collector. I should definitely have something in the 25-20. And this just so happened to come in 25-20. I wasn't specifically looking for it. I was specifically looking for an 1894. And I honestly didn't know that the replicas would look a little bit different compared to the original. Just to say that I have an original, I haven't actually seen an original Marlin like this out on the range at a cowboy match. So the fact that I have one's kind of neat. So why did I purchase it? Because of the caliber and because of, the fact that they don't make them like they used to. So they do have Marlin 1894s out there with the replicas. They just don't look exactly like this. They do have the side eject, they do have the loading gate, they do have the basic frame look. However, the the tang looks a little different. The roll markings are a little different. That's not to say that they're not good rifles. So I will at some point probably purchase an 1894 modern, more modern version looking, not original, vintage, and maybe do a comparison video, something like that. For those of you who are interested, we can do that. And the great thing about the replicas is if they shoot some of the calibers that they didn't back in the day. Also, I decided to buy this because of the condition it was in. It was in good, it was in really good looking condition. The bluing on it seemed like it was good. It wasn't rusty. It didn't look like it was used and abused. The bore was pretty good, and the rifle functions. So, I wanted something that I could shoot as well as say that it, looks pretty. So I think it's pretty awesome. But yeah, let me know if you own a Marlin, an original Marlin, in the comment section. I would like to hear what your thoughts are on it. Have you gone out and shot it? What do you think of it compared to the Winchesters? I haven't gotten the, and when I say Winchesters, I'm talking about the Winchester pistol caliber. I'm not talking about the rifle calibers or anything like that. So please don't tell me more about the 86, or the 95. Tell me more about the pistol calibers like the 92, the 73. I'd like to hear more about that and its comparison to the 94. I will say that running this out of the box, it didn't really come in a box. I will say that running this, it's a little bit tougher for me to run this as fast as the Winchester system, the toggle link system. I think that's just something that a lot of people talk about, that, not to say that you can't run them fast, but me personally, that's where I have more an issue, is I can't run it as fast. That's just me. Okay. Everyone else, their mileage may vary. So, serial number on this thing is 268,246. So they made a lot of these, okay? And I'm not going into the history, so I'm not going to tell you exactly how many they made, but obviously it was a pretty popular rifle if they made that many. So, definitely if you are a lever gun collector, or if you are a cowboy action shooter or something like that, and you want to add a little bit more vintage, I would say definitely an 1894 original is something that you should probably go for. Depending on what caliber you want. Doesn't really matter to me there. I'll go ahead and give you guys another show of this rifle here. You're going to see that obviously it has some of its original blue, but it's going into a patina, or is in a patina. But it still is a very nice looking gun there. And as I said, there's a really thick barrel on it. As far as capacity is concerned, because everybody wants to talk about capacity these days, I've never really been a fan of the half magazine length tubes. I always want the full length, just because I like the look of it. I'm not really, if I wanted to get a half magazine, and this is just my opinion, I would rather go with having a box magazine type of rifle anyway, like an 1895, because that's how they originally came. So, that to me is just what it looks more like. So I would rather go with the full length. I kind of equate the full length magazine tube to the lever action pistol calibers. So that's what I would go with, in my opinion. So capacity, how many does it hold? It holds 10 of the 25-20. And I will go ahead and show you this caliber again for those of you that have not seen it yet. 25-20. Okay, holds 10 of these. So, starts here and then goes all the way up. So, nice little caliber. Nice round. I like shooting it. Very hard to find. Especially these days. So, shoots 10. Shoots great. Intended as a varmint cartridge, and that's what I use it. That's what it would be used for, and you can use it for cowboy action too, and that's what I intend to use it for as well. So, obviously shooting all lead bullets is one of those things you got to do with cowboy action. So, I just think this is a neat little rifle. Let me know in the comment section what your questions are. I'd love to answer them for you as best I can. I will try to keep this as unhistorical as possible, so I don't get a fight in the comment section, because I know how people are so picky on that. and that's the way it goes. Anyway, let me know also where you're watching from. I'd love to see where my viewers are coming from, and I'd also love to see what you guys are drinking. Let me know. So, anyway, she's just gorgeous to look at, all I have to say. I just love looking at some of these rifles, just how they are kind of a piece of art, if you will. I just think that's interesting. So if you guys like that, definitely I will say that the wood on this is a pretty good metal to wood fit. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but, you know, I do feel a little bit of a ridge there, but, you know, it's nitpicky stuff. Completely functioning rifle. Works great. Haven't had any work done to it. Haven't changed out any of the parts. Don't plan to. I'm just going to leave it in its original configuration. As I said, bluing looks good. It's got more of a squared lever here rather than their standard rounded lever. So, and she functions pretty well. So I will say. Very nice. Alright, well, if you guys let me know in the comment section what kind of questions you have of this rifle, I'll be happy to answer it later on. I appreciate you watching this episode, and I will see you next week. Thank you. Description section is a link to our Patreon account if you feel like supporting us. Don't forget to buy me a coffee as well. It's cowgirls and cowboys. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. And if you're looking forward to the next video, I'll see you on down the trail. Have a good one.